It's like been raining snowballs.
Yeah, it's been really weird actually. Hey guys, welcome back to K&S Get Out. We are hiding indoors today. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's gross outside.
Yep. And we're hiding in the office.
Yep.
Herc's the only one out and about right now because the goats, well, they don't want to get their beautiful fur coats wet.
Nope. And really, he shouldn't be out and about too much, but he's got to do his patrolling. He's a guard dog.
So we're going to go down there, dry out some feeders, cram them into the shelters, call all the goats in, and just start throwing food around, see how that goes.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So far so good, but everybody's still got feed in their feeders. It's when it starts to get low that we have the problem. Good boy. Spruce, you've already had your food, dude. You've already had your food. Just stay over here. Here, you want to play with these? Good thing we built 2 other shelters, huh? They're all spoiled and they want to be in the palace.
So we get all crowd into this one.
Yeah. Blue.
Honestly, I think we could get Spruce and Mama and her boys into the other shelters once we get the hay feeders full.
And lock them in there?
Not lock them in there, just in there to eat. They'll separate from everybody else.
Gotcha.
Blue is not getting out of this shelter, I'll tell you that.
Herc is just out there getting soaked, doing his rounds. Having a tough time getting him to focus on eating. But we'll get it, won't we? You big handsome. Look at the mud on your
Look at the
feet.
water just coming off of you, dude.
You need to shake it off, dude.
And not in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're soaked, man.
Here, buddy. That's a good boy. Yeah, that's a good boy. No? Not in the mood to eat? You're in the mood for cuddles, aren't you? You know the fact, though, that he can even be in here with Blue
Yeah.
and be that close to one another?
It's pretty big.
A couple months ago, that wouldn't have happened. Good boy.
Pretty big.
It's a good boy. You're wet, but you're a good boy. All right, so the Blues crew is all in here.
Yeah, I just took the other feeder to the new nursery, and Mama and her boys went in there. So.
Did you lose Spruce?
He's hiding.
I'm right here. Don't tell nobody. I got the perfect spot. Okay, fine. Now the word's out. Whatever.
I love seeing his head just pop up.
Oh, I love seeing my head too, but none of these other guys, they're all ugly. Whoa, buddy.
Okay, well that's not a safe spot for that. We put more hay in there and take it to the other nursery.
I've got Herc's food in the other shelter right at the moment, and I got in there, but he just wanted to cuddle and get me as wet as possible.
Okay. Well, I imagine Spruce will at least go into that one and eat by himself.
What do you think, buddy? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that.
You gonna have your own feeder, Spruce?
Oh, I deserve my own feeder. Thank you. Thank you. Boy, he was talkative yesterday. Did you get any footage of that?
Getting ready to talk about that.
Oh my goodness.
He had some attitude yesterday.
Dude trying to speak English, no joke. You won't do it tomorrow. Get ready to run.
He was telling the others what was up.
Rudolph, the red is fading a little bit, isn't it? Are you keeping it out of the feeder? No, nope, sure not. Mini Blue. Look at them eyes. They're so handsome. Miss Blue. Speaking of eyes, look at those pretty eyes. I'm pretty good. How about the nostrils aren't quite as pretty up close, but you know.
Hey, Larry Bear, I'm going to take this to the other nursery, okay? You can get in on this big feeder.
Hey, buddy. Oh, you are soaked, my friend.
Well, that's always a good time. Running around in the rain and cold and little goatlets jumping on us and
Everybody's wet and muddy.
Everybody's soaked. Herc is super muddy. I am super thankful to have this nice dry building for us to hang out in, have a project to do today, a place to edit.
A place to run to when we get all cold. And
Place to run to, yeah. So yesterday I started working on the insulation. Actually, I got it done yesterday, but we needed to re-insulate the bottom of our camper because the birds had destroyed a bunch of the foam. It had just been blown down and taken down for different reasons. So I worked on that yesterday, and I have to say two things. The first time I was way more concerned about how it looked. I definitely was not as concerned about that this time. I just wanted the insulation up and to get it taped on as good as I could. The other thing is, so remember the first time we did that, babe? We did like the reflective duct tape.
Yeah.
And it held okay, but I did have a lot of places where I had to go back later and refix the tape. So this time I just used regular duct tape to put it up there. And I do have to say the metal tape came off so much easier and cleaner than the duct tape. So anybody out there doing this, I do recommend using the metal duct tape.
Metallic looking. It's not like actual metal, is it?
Metallic,
is it like a foil on one side?
It's a foil tape, like the people that they use for actual duct work.
Yeah.
And it worked pretty well, but it didn't stick as well as I would have liked it to. But as far as cleanup on the camper, that's going to be so much easier. So I'm going to have some work to do at some point, going around and removing some sticky residue. But
that's all right.
It's okay, because right now the bottom of our camper is insulated and we're ready for those 0-degree temps that we've got coming.
Well, and that reflective tape, ironically, attracted the turkeys and the guineas even more. They started by pecking at that, realizing then they could tear up the foam, so they just went for it and tore it to pieces.
Yeah. So I'm very hopeful that they don't go over there and peck at this quite as much as they did the other stuff.
Yeah, we'll see.
I know. I haven't quite figured out what to do about it if they do. So I had a big win yesterday. Didn't you have a big win yesterday?
I did. I put a lot of work in and didn't move much. When I was doing the receptacles around the base, you know, I got in a rhythm. The first one took me close to an hour, and then by the time I got to the last one, I think it was about 10 or 15 minutes, which was great. But I've been procrastinating, and I knew the switches were going to be tricky, and I offered to Shanon to put all 4 switches in one box. So instead of doing the switches, I just put the box here, and then I went on and ran the cables to where all the light fixtures are going to be, and left a little bit of excess so that whenever we actually figure out exactly what we're going to do with the ceiling, because we're still debating a bit, I've got enough Romex there to wire whatever I need to. So I got all that done. The receptacles were done. Then I was on to my sore spot. These. I think it took me close to between 2 and 3 hours. And it had nothing to do with the fact that there was a bunch of football on yesterday and I had that rolling over here. No, really, I did stay pretty focused on it though and try to get in a rhythm, and there's a lot going on back there. And basically, a switch, even on the box, they are just an interrupter. So all it's doing is allowing power to pass through to whatever you have your cables going out to. But then you've got a wire so that these 2 lights come on at the same time with one switch, these 2 with one, so on and so forth. But I'm happy to report that after that 3 hours, I was able to go ahead and wire up a little light right here. No, this is not how it's gonna be.
This was just a test.
Yeah, so this is one of her recessed can lights, more or less, I think is what it's called.
It's just a flush mount light.
Flush mount light.
Recessed would be like recessed into the ceiling.
Yeah.
This is flush mount.
So after I got all the switches wired and everything, I checked to make sure all my hot wires were not touching anything or each other, whatever, and flipped on the breaker with the switches off. Everything was good. And switched the switches, which then sends the power out. Everything was good. So it was just time to hook up one of my lights and test it.
And I took a little bit of video of that just as a reminder of how awesome that moment was. So I want to go ahead and show that to you guys. Moment of truth right here. This is exciting. That is awesome. Great work, babe.
So what you were expecting?
Yeah, I'm only gonna need one. I'm not gonna need more than one. That's perfect.
And look, my switch works.
Great job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Technically, that one's powering up at the same time too, but I don't have anything connected to it yet.
Okay.
So those will be easier. We can go ahead and put in the ceiling mount junction boxes for those, and I can wire them up proper. Right now, I'm just kind of cheating a little bit. Okay. Just for the sake of testing.
Well, and I didn't know how bright they were going to be, so now I know that I only need one for each side.
Yeah.
They're pretty bright, but I think I can also change the brightness of them.
Yeah, I think there was something, I don't know if you can change the Kelvin, you know, which is the color, the white.
The color, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. It only took me, we're not going to admit how long that took me.
It doesn't matter. The point is, it's done. And you did it.
Well,
all on your own.
It's all connected. But now I've got to mount everything, and I've got the switches that are controlling the 2 opposite sides all connected. It's just wrapping it all up now.
Good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Progress, babe.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I know.
This is I can't say this is my biggest learning experience out here, but as far as like going from not knowing anything other than what I knew through IT and computers and stuff, which is not this at all, this is a big one. This was a 0 to 100.
You killed it.
If I give myself 100.
You killed it. I give you 100. How about that?
That's because you have light in your shots. I know why you give me 100. Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
Me too.
I started on this a long time ago.
We don't have to tell them what time you started, but they'll know what time it is because the Dolphins and Bills game is on.
Cowboys won. What?
No, Cowboys killed it.
So I'm super stoked about it. I've never done this before. I have put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours of learning from Rob and your dad and everybody else, and it's just such a good feeling to have this in my tool belt along with all the other things we've had to learn out here. But I was on cloud 9 last night after I got that part done.
With good reason too.
Yeah.
What was it that you said to me as far as like the difference between installing outlets and light switches?
Well, switches, like when you're a kid or an adult, it's just they're magical, right? Like you can walk into a pitch black room and you can flip a switch and these lights come on, and you don't really know why or how or what's behind it all. And so it's just kind of that fun mystery. And so now to be the one that makes that magic, yeah, that's right, it's magical. I'm very excited about it. So it's fun because with the receptacles, you're plugging things into them and then you turn them on. Like our studio lights that we've been using as our lighting in here, you plug that in and then you flip the switch, and you're the one doing it. With switches, you don't get that control. It's all the grunt work, the behind the scenes, before the insulation goes in, what I hooked up. And so the magic is all done based on what the electrician did. So,
or the Kyle did.
Or the Kyle, yeah. Yeah, I'm taking electrician. I don't even care. So you want to see it?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make sure it's still working today.
Yeah.
And yes, I am safe about this. I do know where my wires are. I know what's going on. So don't freak out. It's all very controlled. And, well, I thoroughly know how it's all wired. So I'm going to flip the breaker on. Then we're going to flip that switch.
Kyle is very meticulous about everything he does. And he does all the research and gets basically all the details before he does something. So I'm very trusting of him for the work that he's done in here.
So the first one's going to be for your chandelier. These are going to be the second ones because I figured it'd be the first light you would need when you came in. Ta-da!
Ta-da! It's sitting on top of a box right now just because, yeah.
That's exciting.
It's so exciting, babe.
It shouldn't be as exciting as it is, but then again, yeah, it should, and it is.
You put a lot of work into it, so it's something to be proud of.
I know I've mentioned this before, and if you watch all of our videos, you've seen them all. You've probably heard this a couple of times, but when we lived in the city and we had our house, we wanted to put a ceiling fan on our back patio, which we had a really nice back patio. We hung out and grilled there a lot, but I didn't want to do it, so I totally paid a guy. And I don't know, a week before that, one of our pendulum lights, it's just pendulum.
Pendulum.
How do you say that?
Pendant.
I would say comment down below, but we're all going to spell it the same way. The little gang box, the blue thing that you screw the fixture into, like this, only blue, was out of the ceiling about that much. Just this much. And I was like, well, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know how to do that. So I paid a guy to do that. And so for me, it's kind of a rite of passage from going from that guy that always hired a guy to now being the guy so that we don't have to hire a guy.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
I'm excited about it.
I am too.
Hope you guys are too. It's good, exciting stuff. But I won't come do it for you.
And if anything, just be excited for us.
Yeah, I'll take that.
This is progress that is being made. We're getting closer and closer to completion, which we're so far from completion on this thing. But it's progress. It's one day at a time. It's just doing a little bit every single day. And that's really all we can do.
Well, for us, it's a learning process as well as a project.
Yeah.
So, it's not like if you sat down another building for me and said, hey, let's wire this, I would do it totally different. because technically this should be a rough-in electrical phase. We shouldn't have the receptacles, the switches, the lights, and all that stuff, but this is like our most complete building.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and do it. If I have to redo some of the work, no big deal. But
also, he wouldn't choose this style of building because of the roof, just FYI.
Never again.
Lesson learned. Yeah. But I have lofts.
But she has lofts. She wanted lofts, she gets lofts.
I wanted storage.
And I don't complain about it too much. Just the right amount.
Too much.
Just like this much.
Okay.
I never complain about it. Stupid lofts.
I am super, super proud of you, babe. You've done great, and I appreciate everything you've done.
Thanks. A little more ways to go, but it's warm in here. We've got light in here, and I can watch football in here.
And I can work.
Oh, she can work.
So what's on your agenda for today?
Well, if I can keep from annoying you while you're editing in here.
Noise canceling headphones.
Noise canceling headphones for the win. But also she's got to face away from me because if I raise my hand, she thinks I'm trying to talk to her, and it's kind of funny. For me, I'm going to get some of the fixtures, the actual hardware set, so that I can hard set some of these and we can actually utilize the light. But I've also got to start planning out the ceiling.
We received a lot of comments about how to handle the trusses or rafters or whatever it is that's called up on the ceiling. And let me just tell you, all of you contradicted each other.
Yeah, you guys don't agree.
All of you contradicted each other. So we're still working on that. We're still trying to come up with some ideas.
I've looked at rafter ties. There's a specific brand like Strong Ties or something at Home Depot that specifically say on most of the plates like not for trusses. Well, if you're using those to support your rafters and cut the little OSB bracing, then technically that's a truss-ish. It's confusing. But I do have to get spacing off of these 2x4s, these rafters, so that my electrical cables will be behind the paneling that we put up. So I know I'll have to give a little offset, but it won't be enough for the panels to clear right there. And I don't want to cut a narrow strip of panel and then have to fashion a 2x4 or something in that little angle that we can staple or nail or whatever into. So we're still up in the air about it. I really want to know, because I've tried to Google it and I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but when you start typing things about OSB and rafters and trusses and blah, 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 they're not thinking about these little braces, these little OSB. If I say OSB in my search, they start talking about the sheathing that's going onto the rafters. So narrowing my research down as to the function of those. What I don't know is it helping keep those 2x4s from pulling apart, or does it add rigidity so in high wind situations they work with the rafters to provide more structural integrity?
Okay.
All those words. So I was trying to figure out the purpose, then to think through a replacement, or could we cut them or whatever, but not there yet. And we do appreciate the comments and the feedback and the input on it, especially if you have experience in it. But if you could tell me what those pieces of OSB would actually do, that would probably help me on my journey to find a solution. I hate to ask you guys for help, but at the same time, you're so good at offering it that I'll take it. And we appreciate it. So yeah, I'm gonna just try to button up some of the light stuff today and keep racking my brain on the rafter situation.
Great work, babe.
Thank you.
I'm excited for all the progress.
Me too.
Well, the winter storm is hitting us. I'm sure it's hitting all of you guys as well, so I'll definitely keep you in my prayers and pray that everybody stays warm and safe. I think next week we have some 0-degree days, or not days, but nights, and then it's supposed to only get like in the teens or 20s a couple of days. So like we've got cold weather coming, so we're just trying to prep as much as we can for that, keep everybody warm and dry and safe.
And we learned a lot last year because we had a really cold winter last year.
We did, with a lot of snow.
And we were kind of learning as we were going. Like, we didn't have the foam insulation to begin with. We didn't have additional heaters besides our furnace in the camper.
Yeah.
So I am happy to report it stays warm in here, it stays warm in the camper, and with that insulation keeping all that wind out from under the camper, huge difference. So we look forward to finding out next week if it holds up to that low of temperatures.
Yeah.
It will.
And I even have a little radiant heater in our well house to keep our well from freezing, our pump and all that stuff from freezing. So,
yeah,
you know,
we're like prepared.
Just trying to prep a little bit. I'm sure there's more we could have done, and I'm sure
always
there's
more we could do.
Tons of stuff we could still do, but One day at a time.
One day at a time. Well, guys, we love and appreciate each and every one of you. We thank you for coming on this journey with us, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.